This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. This week, we got another great action star of Hollywood. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Wesley Snipes. This great action star started off, early in his young life, getting into the arts. He went to a dramatic art school in New York, and from there he went back, home to Florida, and then made his way out to Hollywood. And early on, he started to get bit parts and getting recognized for his work. He started to do larger and larger roles. He even was up to be in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, but he felt he wanted to go in a different direction. And again, his career just continued to go up, and then his big movie came that made him the action star that we now know. The film, Passenger 57. He plays John Cutter, a retired police officer who admits of trying to stop a crime. His wife was killed. So he's dealing with that guilt. In the midst of that, his good friend, who is an executive at an airline, another grand actor, Sly Del Vecchio, played by the great Tom Sizemore. A perfect role for him. He's he's the salesman. He's the one that convinces Wesley Snipes, you gotta come work for us. They want Wesley Snipes to be head of their anti-terrorism division at the airlines. So basically, be in charge of training everyone what to watch out for in regards to terrorism. And so he meets with the company's owner, another grand actor. He's Stuart Ramsey, and he's played by Bruce Greenwood. They want to fly him out to California, where they want to have him accept the job. He accepts the job. They want him to be in California to talk to the board, to do all these things. So what they're going to do is they're going to fly him out, a couple days early before this meeting, and have a couple days vacation, and then get to work. And one of his specialties is that he, like I said, he's hired by them to be their trainer, but he also goes. He's an independent trainer, so he does this with airlines, and he teaches stewardess what to do, and in case if there is an attack. One particular case, he met a stewardess, and it was really hard on her. You did this wrong, and they just was just a horrible first meeting for them. The actress, she plays Marty, the stewardess, Alex Datcher. She ends up being on the flight that he's taken to California, and so Shorty has it in for him, and he's trying to ring the bell, and she ignores him. So he's trying to be nice to her, and she's like, fine, whatever. Well, as they're about to leave, the FBI come and bring on the FBI is transporting a known terrorist on a plane to go to take him to another state for court hearing. So think about that one. So, but the FBI, take the terrorist whom they caught early in the film. The character is named John Rain. He's known as the Reign of Terror. He's played by Bruce Payne. Bruce Payne's always known for being these steely, calculating killers that are formidable. So a perfect role for him. So he gets on the plane, and as you're watching the film, you see people who look a little suspicious. You're wondering, okay, they're probably part of this group. So what ends up happening? They take off. They're in mid-flight. The stewardesses are talking. Alex Datcher is talking to another stewardess. The other stewardess, one of her first roles, she plays Sabrina. It's Elizabeth Hurley. So she's new, and she's very bubbly and very nice. She said, well, who's that? Oh, that's the FBI guy. Who's it? And he goes, who's that other guy? He goes, well, that's like an air marshal. He's charged of security. Oh, okay. Well, lo and behold, Elizabeth Hurley, a few other people are part of Bruce Payne's a terrorist group. So they take over the plane. Elizabeth Hurley kills the 2 FBI agents. John Cutter, Wesley Snipes, just happens to be in the bathroom when all this is going on. So he's seeing it from the bathroom. And he's able to get a phone and call Tom Sizemore. And they almost catch him, but the phone's on. He's saying, no, don't hurt me. You're terrorists taking over the plane. So Tom Sizemore hears and realizes that there's something going on the plane. And so Wesley Snipes is able to subdue, the first guy, and he has a gun to him, and Charles Rain, Bruce Payne, grabs a passenger, and he's saying, put your gun down, and he's saying, no, it's not going to happen. He goes, look, you've ruined everything. It was just going to be us taking over. We're going to leave. Now you've added, a different element, and because of that. And he tells the passenger, tell him your name. I think his name was Douglas. He goes, Doug. He goes, do you have any children? I have one daughter. He goes, because of you, she no longer has a father. Boom! He blows the guy away. And Wesley Snipes, he goes, and he grabs, and then Bruce Payne grabs another one. And, he goes, you want me to continue? I will. So Wesley Snipes puts the gun down. Bruce Payne kills his own guard because he failed him. And when he does that, there's a big commotion, big fight, and him and Alex Asher are able to escape to going down to the plane. And when then other things happen. What he's able to do is dump the fuel, so he forces the plane to land. And they land at this little airport, and then there's all kinds of a mix-up because of the small-town sheriff who thinks he's in charge. Wesley Snipes escapes. He thinks he's part of the terrorist group. Tom Sizemore and Bruce Greenwood, are trying to take care of it from their end and clear it all out. But great film because it showed that Wesley Snipes had the ability to carry a film and an action film at that. It wasn't over the top. He didn't have superpowers or anything. He's a martial artist, so he does the martial arts. The great fight scenes. Everything was believable in regards to something that a person would do. Like I said, he didn't jump out from 20,000 feet without a parachute, and he didn't suddenly take his windbreaker off and land. It wasn't anything outrageous, but great film, great action. It still holds up. Many of these films still hold up today. A great film. Another one. This one paired him up with, I think, one of the greatest action stars that has ever been on screen. Of course, I'm talking about Rising Sun. Wesley Snipes is paired up with Sir Sean Connery. Wesley Snipes plays a Webb Smith. He is partnered with Sean Connery. He is John Connor, and he's an expert in Japanese culture. Because what happens is, in the beginning of the film, you see a Japanese company negotiating with an American company, and it's going to revolutionize the tech industry. They're going to make different components, blah, blah, blah. The federal government was involved, whether this was a good deal between the countries, and so on and so forth. And so, it's like I said, it's a big deal. And that evening, after the negotiations, they have a big party. Everyone is there, from the American team to the Japanese business team, senators, all sorts of people. Well, there happens to be a murder on the premises, and so as part, Wesley Snipes is brought in because he's a detective, homicide, and his captain, another great actor. He's Tom Graham, played by Harvey Keitel. I love Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel in here is just, you know, the typical detective. Hey, this is the evidence. Let's pursue it. This is how it is. There it is. Why are you guys making a big deal about it? You know, I love it. You know, it's a, you know, straightforward type of guy. So they're there to investigate. Wesley Snipes, on his way there, gets a phone call and says, you got to go pick up John Connor. John Connor is a captain, but he's kind of like a retired. He's, you know, he's kind of like a, you know, he's not part of the everyday dealings with the police, but, you know, he's, they want him to go pick him up. They want Wesley Snipes to pick up Sean Connery because Sean Connery is an expert in Japanese culture and how to deal with the Japanese. And so he goes, Wesley Snipes picks him up, and Sean Connery's, you know, great. You know, he's very quiet. What you think someone who has studied, you know, Japanese culture would be. And he tells him, you know, they're like this, you know, speak softly, bow when they bow, and do this, and so forth. And Wesley Snipes, you know, he's American. He's like, what? No. He goes, yes, just let me lead. And he says, he goes, when you make a mistake, when you blow it, and he's like, what do you mean when I blow it? Yeah, when you blow it, because you will, I'll step in and says, maybe I can be of assistance. And he's like, what? And so they get to the corporation. Wesley Snipes is trying to deal with the Japanese liaison, and they're going back and forth. And you know, Wesley Snipes getting, you know, angry, and Sean Connery comes in and says, you know, here, may I be assistance? And you know, he bows, he gives him his card, and, you know, does all the little protocol and so on and so forth. And then the young guys, oh yes, you know, and they speak Japanese, and he knows, the liaison knows Sean Connery, and he says, you know, I want the surveillance tape. And oh no, it can't be. And Sean Connery just goes off, what do you mean? And then later Wesley Snipes says, what was that about? And he goes, well, they had to show him, you know, in their culture, you know, there's mutual respect, and, you know, the hierarchy, and so on and so forth. So I had to show him, you know, who I was, and, you know, and have him respond appropriately. And what he was wanting was, he had learned that there was a surveillance cameras, additional surveillance cameras, and he was wanting the disc of the surveillance. Well, so while they're doing that, when they are, you know, conducting the investigation, there's one individual that it's leading them towards. It looks like it was the son of the owner of the company, Eddie Sakamura, another great actor. I had the opportunity to meet him too. A very nice man. Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa, great actor. You see him in all sorts of things. He was on Revenge not too long ago. You know, he played you know, a Japanese businessman, but everything is leading to him because he is basically, you know, he's the young playboy. He's a rich guy, you know, rich man's son, so he does all kinds of stuff. Sean Connery knows him, known him for years, and he was saying, you know, at first he said, I know the girl. He goes, I know who she is, but I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't kill her. And so Sean Connery believes him. Wesley Snipes all like, what? I can't believe him. You know, everything's leading towards him. He goes, no, you have to understand their culture. And so what ends up happening is they find the disc. The liaison brings Sean Connery the disc. They see the disc. It shows that it was Cary Tagawa that was the murderer. And Sean Connery's thinking, you know, there's something not right about this. And Harvey Keitel saying, you see, I knew it all along. Let's go get him. So they tried to raid the house. Cary Tagawa flees, and he crashes. His car explodes. Looks like he's dead. Sean Connery then proceeds to have the CD examined, and the examiner, another great actress, Tia Kara. She plays the you know, the computer analyst is saying, you see, look, this is what they did to it. This is why it's been doctored. So they realize that it's been doctored. So from there, the investigation, you know, goes deeper. And Sean Connery is trying to tell Wesley Snipes, you know, it's not about us. Who paired us, and why did they pair us? Someone's been leading this investigation to take us to a certain conclusion. You have to look past that. And what I liked about the film is that Sean Connery is the, the older statesman. And I love the way Wesley Snipes plays it, because, he's always, the hero, the guy who has all the answers and, is ahead of everything. And here he is playing opposite Sean Connery. And in the character Sean Connery, is wise and knows the Japanese culture, in which he's trying to teach Wesley Snipes, who is strictly American. Look, the American style is different from Japanese. Let me show you and let me teach you. And at first he's reluctant, but he begins to understand and grow. And I like that about the movie. And even in Wesley Snipes' acting, he was respectful to Sean Connery, to his character. I'm sure he was respectful to Sean Connery himself. The characters, he was understanding Captain Connor, and what now? What do we do here? What's this and that? And even his acting relayed that. And that's what I liked about the film, that you could see that he is an actor. But then it goes in all sorts of different directions. But great film. It was a big blockbuster, made 140 million, something like that, back in like '93. So it made tons of money. Sean Connery was just doing all sorts of films. But again, great film. I know you'll like it. Great acting all around. One of the films that was right on top. Matter of fact, Sean Connery was one of the executive producers on it. But let's go to the next film. The next film, of course, is the epitome of Wesley Snipes as the action hero. Of course, I'm talking about Blade. Great film. Blade. He's Blade. He's the day walker. He's what we learn is basically half vampire, half human. So that's why he's able to walk out during the day. And we see early on in the beginning of the film that when he was born, his mother, what we learn later, was actually bit by a vampire, and she was dying on the operating table. So they had to perform a C-section, and they take the baby out. But because she was bit, some of that blood and everything went to him. So that's how he became a daywalker. He personally wasn't bit or anything, but he got the residual effect from his mother because she was in the womb. So because of different things, he's become a vampire hunter, basically. And he's teamed up with another great actor. Yeah, he's not only a great film actor, he's a great singer. His music is well known by many people. Of course, I'm talking about the great Chris Christopherson. He plays Abraham Whistler, and he's the one that invents everything for Blade. His guns, and fixes his cars, and he's the one that's developed the serum to help Blade continue to fight the hunger to turn to a complete vampire. So he's basically his support, it's basically his father. He adopted him, basically. They have a great, like a father-son relationship. So you see Blade, going places, killing everyone. And there's one particular vampire, and his name is Deacon Frost. He's played by Stephen Dorff. Stephen Dorff is, the young upstart. He's the one that says, hey, you know what? We're the evolved ones. We're the ones that don't need to make any sort of treaty with the humans. They're our food, for being sake. I like it when he said, he goes, they're our food. We don't need to negotiate with them. And he wants the vampires to take over and rule, the entire world. Well, there is the older statesman again. He's the one who's the head of the House of Erebus. What's his name? Giattano Dragonetti, if I remember correctly. But it's a great Udo Kier. I love Udo Kier. He always has those blue eyes and that stare that he has, and when he looks at you, you're like, oh, deep penetrating blue eyes. So he is, the head of the house, and he tells Stephen Dorff, he goes, why are you even saying all this? You're not even really a vampire. You were turned. I was born a vampire. We're the ones that are in charge here. It's a council, you know, of all the houses of, you know, all the heads of the vampires. They're all there. He goes, and they're wealthy. You know, they're into real estate. They are into politics. They're in all sorts of things, and they have an agreement with the humans. You know, will act in conjunction with each other and for mutual benefit. Well, Stephen Dorff, like I said, says no. You know, let's take him over. Well, Stephen Dorff has found the old scrolls. It's basically the vampire Bible, and he's reading everything. He has his computer program reading it. And what he's found is ancient knowledge of how to become the ultimate vampire and how to have ultimate control. So that's his hidden agenda that Udo Kier doesn't know that he's doing. He knows he's reading stuff, but he says the texts, they're encrypted. There's no way for you to decipher them. And Stephen Dorff just says, yeah, whatever. Well, meanwhile, here we have Blade hunting down vampires. And we have the vampires also looking for Blade and, you know, trying to put their pieces together. They're basically going to try to take over the house of Erebus. Well, in the mix of this, there's a young doctor who was treating who she thought was a dead burn victim who turned out to be a vampire. He ended up, you know, jumping to life and bitter, but Blade came and, you know, was able to save her, but she was bit. And so she was turning. The doctor's name was Karen Johnson. Nabush Wright plays the doctor. And Wesley Snipes takes her to Chris Christopherson, and he said, well, you know, it's 50-50 chance whether she'll be, you know, well or not. And they give her a shot of garlic, and then they let her rest, and slowly she comes out of it. And so they inform her what has happened, who she is, what had happened to her, who did it, and now, you know, you better leave because they know who you are. They're only going to come after you. And so she ends up trying to help Blade with his condition because she's an expert in you know, hemotomin, all sorts of things. You know, expert in you know, blood work and what have you. And so she is not only trying to help herself, but thinks she can help Blade. And so then they're going around following the different vampires, looking for Stephen Dorff because they know something's happening. So, you know, all hell breaks loose. You know, I don't want to give too much away again, but, you know, great action film. Even watching it today, what I liked about it is if look in the background, it is purposely dated. You know, this is my opinion. Because when you, for instance, if you're in her apartment, you see she has this old fan, old furniture, old lamp, like from the 70s. But we know it's modern day, at least in the 90s. But because of the look, you can watch Blade today and think it was made, you know, this year. But great film. He goes on to do, you know, some more Blades, also great. But, you know, Wesley Snipes happens to be, you know, one of those characters that one of those actors that you can really watch in action. Like I said, in Rising Sun, you know, he has the ability to really bring forth a character in a third-dimensional manner and see him act. But great film. Great film. Again, you know, Passenger 57, Rising Sun, and Blade. You watch those, and I know you'll love them. Well, this has been Gus Summers, and you've been watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about my favorite films and actors. Of course, remember, don't forget to visit us every Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. at theinshow.com, where I host The In-Show. And that's where I bring on all sorts of celebrities and guests, just talk about their projects or whatever it is that's on their mind. Of course, look for us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, Instagram, all those great social media sites. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.